This early spring adventure in Denmark was brought to you by the goddess of rain, who seemed to have partnered with the god of wind. And let me tell you, I have never been so cold in the night as I was with this one. So buckle up, let's do it. Denmark is divided into 3 sections. You've got the large mainland on the left, you've got Fyn in the middle, and you've got Sjælland on the right. On Sjælland is a little island called Møn. This is what we're looking at right now. And if you zoom in to Møn, right down here on the very right side is the UNESCO site of Møns Klint. Klint means a cliff. To get to Møn, you have to cross a bridge, and that is where my story begins. 2 friends joined me on this trip, so I picked them up from the train station along the way.
This is my bag, this is my lighter bag.
Get off. That one's mine. That's my bag. My baby bag.
The hike started well, and although it was overcast, it wasn't cold and it wasn't wet, so we were feeling pretty good at this point. We headed towards the Geo Centre first, with the aim of taking the hundreds of steps down to the UNESCO beach. However, the tide and the wind had other plans for us and had completely cut off our route along the beach. So we reluctantly turned around and accepted our fate and started the ascent back up onto the cliff top. Pretty intense up here on the cliff top, but it didn't mean that the views were any less amazing. Wherever possible, we duck into the forest to get a break from the wind. In the springtime in Denmark, the forest floors are covered in these little white flowers, and we call them anemoner. And it makes for a really nice treat after all the grey and brown and, well, you know, those bland winter colours. Although inevitably we always end up back out on the cliff trail. Had we taken the beach route, these were the stairs that we would have taken to get back onto the cliff trail. These vantage points felt a little bit risky to walk out in such high winds, but I kind of didn't want to just deny myself these views. We kept our head down and just kept plodding along the trail, regardless of the wind, and obviously soon the rain started to kick in. It wasn't too bad at this point. Our spirits are high and the views are good, so it still remains a top-notch hike.
That's all that we got left now, before the road will run out, before it's time for goodbye.
Our aim now is just to basically get to Liselund Slottspark, take a look around the park, and then find our free wild camping spot, which I found on the Shelter app. As far as hikes go in Denmark, this is actually a pretty good one, especially on Sjælland, because Sjælland's very flat. So Møn is a really good location for some varied terrain. You got some hills, you got some varied paths, you get some good views of the cliffs, and this is something that's kind of special for this part of Denmark.
Look at all this anemone.
This is the white flower.
It's beautiful.
We've reached Liselund Slottspark now, and we take a minute here to just eat some lunch, regain some energy, and watch how the rain is really starting to fall now. It's a nice place. It probably would look even better with some sunshine. I know everything looks better with the sunshine, but it is absolutely pissing it down and we are accepting it. So onwards we go, explore the park before we find our campsite for the night. There's some cute thatch buildings and some old historical stuff, but I mean, quite honestly, there's not a lot here. I would say this is a great place if you're walking a dog, or if you just want somewhere to kind of pitch a blanket and have a nice picnic. But other than that, I would say you're really here for Møns Klint itself. Onwards we go. Now we just need to find our camp spot, and the route's still quite nice even though it is raining. We are keeping our spirits high, and let's say that they stay fairly high until we need to make a fire for dinner. Had it been dry, this is definitely where we would have made our fire, but as you can see, it's very wet. Now, I don't recommend doing this, and I'm only doing it because of the extreme wet conditions that we are in, but we had to make our fire under some of the trees where there was some dry ground. I started off trying to be a little bit Girl Scout, but I soon gave up and just went for newspaper and matches because, let's face it, by this point, I'm cold, I'm wet, and I just want to get something warm and nourishing in my tummy so that I can relax in my hammock and get warm. So yeah, sorry guys, you can burn me if you want, but I went for matches and paper, so suck it up.
I can't help but thinking as well that this is not a dream camping night at all.
I could not agree more with Morten at this point. Now, the warmest place was definitely around the fire, but the driest place was to stand here under my tarp where I would be sleeping for the night. Okay, we have camped overnight at Sjælland Slottspark. It was an awful night. It was raining, it was really damp, it's still damp in the air. But now we're on day 2, we've had breakfast, we've drunk some warm coffee, and now we're going to go and investigate the rest of Møn on the way back to the car. So enjoy! It felt so nice to get back on the trail and start generating some heat in my body again, because I have owned an emergency blanket for probably a year at this point and never had to use it until this night. I remember waking up and I was so cold in my body, even with all the layers I had on and all the sleeping bag and extra things that I had with me. I still had to whip out that emergency blanket and get some heat back in my body.
I'm doing 1-3.
Okay.
Oh!
Oh!
I am gonna fall.
No one else is falling, it's only you.
Oh. We going down there?
Yeah. You're not coming?
Yeah.
You can go that way if you want. I can't guarantee you'll find the car.
I don't want to.
This is definitely one of those camping, hiking situations where if you can just weather the storm, you are so grateful for the sunshine that you get the next day. We definitely had a much happier vibe walking back to the car in this sunshine and not having rain and wind battering us. We did it. We got to the end, and I can categorically say that so far Møn in Denmark has been the wettest, windiest, coldest micro adventure I've ever been on. While you watch me take this well-earned lunch break in the sunshine, let me say thank you for watching this video, and if you too also want to get into wild camping with hammocks, you can get 10% off with Ticket to the Moon hammocks. Just check the link in the description. FYI, I used the Pro hammock in the warmer months and the lightest hammock in the winter months.